Well, hello everybody. Oh, I tell you what I've been enjoying today. The high was 67. The first cooler day we've had in a long time. It's going to be back up in the 80s though after today. But still, that's not like 95 and 100 or 105. So I'll take it. But anyway, I'm here. I'm getting ready to transplant some more of my collard plants. I think they're big enough. I hope I'm not jumping the gun. I'm going to try to get some of the biggest ones out and see if I can transplant them. Several of the ones that I transplanted already died because they weren't big enough. So I'm just hoping I'm not jumping the gun on these. And hopefully I will get a good root down in here. And you know what? I think I'm going to put them in a bucket. I can always bring the bucket back. Well, that's a broken bucket. I'll get one of these. Try to keep a little bit of the dirt on the root if you can when you go to transplant anything. But these are pretty good sized transplants right there, I think. So I'm hoping they'll be okay. I'll try to leave the smallest ones in here for them to grow bigger. I break the root off. That's probably one reason the other ones didn't make it. I probably broke part of the root off. And that might be why they didn't survive. That's why I'm out here trying to dig these up to keep the root on them, if possible. Because, you know, they have a hard enough time surviving when you transplant plants anyway. But if you go breaking the roots off, then that makes it even harder for them to survive. So leave some of these littlest ones and let them grow a little bit more. I mean, some of them, the roots are going to come off no matter what you do. You're going to lose some plants regardless of what you do. But you don't have to help it along by breaking your roots off to begin with. And I'm going down in here deep enough that I'm hoping I get all the root, and I'm not cutting any of the root off. Because they've got quite a good root system on them. Most of them do. I'll just take the whole clump dirt and all. And I still got more there just in case. I may not have enough. I may have too many in my bucket to transplant, but we're going to see what happens. Because, you know, I went ahead and fixed the other buckets for these. See, there's only one or two that even look like they survived here. But I think it's because I may have broke the root off and the plant wasn't quite big enough. So, like this one's surviving. This one is trying to. That one is trying to, but I'm not sure it's going to make it. And I probably did the wrong thing by putting them in here because they're hard to get to. But I'm going to go down with these roots as far as I can, because that will give it the best chance of survival. Now that's a pretty good looking plant right there. See, the dirt fell off of it, but I still got all the roots intact, so hopefully that will be okay. And this dirt is wet, so I should not have to water it right now. Put compost tea on it. That one is trying to survive too. This one right here, it's kind of perked up, so I'm going to leave it. The deeper you can get those roots, if they've got tall, long roots, the better. Because then they don't have to go so far to get water. They're already down there at it. Now that one may come back from the root, I don't know, but it don't look like it's faring too good. So I'm going to put another one in there. Like I said, I'm not sure about that one. There's 3 that I'm not sure about, but I'm just going to leave them. If they don't make it, I'll transplant more in them. But we got these buckets here that I'm going to transplant some of these collards in. Whew, that's 3 of them right there. I only need 1 in each pot because they get so big. I think these will survive a lot better. See, there's like 3 of them there. And if it's this big, I don't want to put but 1 in there. I think I pulled up too many. have any place to put all these. I mean, they'll get partial sun during the day, but they'll get a bit of shade too, so they don't burn up. I may go ahead and stick one or two of these over here in the ones that I think are iffy on, you know, because I don't want these plants to go to waste. And since I've already pulled them up, maybe one of them will live. If both of them live, I'll just have to see what I can do with them, I guess. I think that one's going to make it because it's got one good leaf in the middle. Like I said, I pulled up too many. And I know that one looks like it's going to live, but I'm going to go ahead and stick one in there with it. Because you never know. Now I got a few down in here. Four, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and that was a pretty good size one there. 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll lay these here right here for a second. And I'm going to put this little bit of dirt over in this other pot. Because some of my pots need more dirt. There. Now, since I've run out of buckets, I got a good collard plant in each bucket. I'm going to take these back, and I'm going to stick them back in that tote where they grew from seed, and see if I can keep them alive, just in case the other ones don't make it. I'll have something to replace in there until I get somewhere else to plant them. But all my other stuff is full. Like, I've got plenty of collard plants if they survive. here when I get to them. Hopefully it'll be cold enough now that, or not cold, it'll be cool enough that it'll scare all the worms and stuff off that usually get on them. I think that's one reason so many people prefer to grow collards in their fall garden, is because the collards like the colder weather, and they can withstand some freeze, or a little bit anyway. You know, they can stand cold weather. Get out of there. Trying to get up in that catnip and stuff. Yeah, I got catnip coming up from last year in that tote. It was in a pot. And I guess roots either got down in the tote, and the plants come up from the roots, or it dropped seeds and maybe seeds came up. I don't know which, but I've got catnip coming back up in there. And I'm not sure planting catnip was a good idea. If they say cats love it as much as they do, I don't know. There, so now maybe those few plants will survive. And I do have some compost tea here, because this dirt here is kind of dry. So I think I want to put a little bit of water, or not water, it's compost tea. It was the runoff from the totes when I watered them the last time. That's why I have these buckets here. It catches all the runoff, and that way I can re-water the tote with the runoff. It doesn't waste water that way. But I'll be able to take this around there and water some of the plants too. I'll go put a little bit of water on them. Just a little bit. Just for good measure. Just for good luck. I don't have to put much in each one, just a little. They're already wet, the dirt is. See, with my water catchment system, I save my runoff water, and I make my own compost tea, so I don't have to use the city water every time I water. And if it do happens to rain and my buckets are empty, I can just turn those lids over and they'll catch the rainwater. So that saves on my water bill. Hoping they'll survive. They claim if you have more than 2 or 3 true leaves on your plants, you know, not just the sprout leaves, the very first ones, you don't want to try to transplant them at that point. But when they get 3 or 4, at least 3 or so leaves, they should be big enough to transplant by then. Let me cover this back up. And we'll go over here and put my bucket back to that tote. Oh, I could have left the things on, I guess. But we'll go over here and put this back. I got some critter that came over here, and look at this. Ate half the melon down here. Look at that. Look at the seeds in it, though. Probably need to get those seeds out of it. And I will, probably. Not right this minute. But that'll be good to get the seeds out of it and throw that, what's left of that melon, in the compost. You know what, I think I'm going to add a little bit to my banana trees while I'm here. It's not going to take much, but since I'm here already, that's what I'm going to do. Put just a little bit of compost tea to my banana trees. I don't know if they're going to survive here through the winter or not. The ground gets so dry. I've had to put compost tea on that just about every day. But I got holy basil in that one. Look at there. I thought it was not going to come up, but it's coming up. That's a weed in it, but the rest of that is holy basil, y'all. First time I've planted holy basil. I've got regular basil. I've planted that for several years. But this is the first year I've tried holy basil. And I tried the purple basil, but it never sprouted. I don't know what's going on with that. But it never did sprout on me. So, I don't know. We haven't had rain for several weeks. The ground is so dry. Sand and rocks. The dirt doesn't stay there. I mean, the water doesn't stay. And look at this. All of these tomato vines are just falling. I need to get out here and tie them up or do something. I'm afraid they're going to break off, is what they're going to do. Because they're starting to put out tomatoes. I have a bunch of more tomatoes before our first freeze here. Well, I wanted you to see that if you plant your little collard plant transplants too soon, they won't survive. You saw what happened. I only had one or two that lived, and a couple that kind of iffy. One part of the plant, a little leaf is sticking up, it's still alive, and it probably will make it, or it may not. And all of these that I just planted may not make it. That's the reason I want to keep some reserve in the tote back there. So I've got plenty to transplant and replace some of them that don't make it. So with that, I'm going to bid y'all a good evening, and I'll see y'all on my next one. Bye now. Love y'all.